but we are going to see here. And guys, if there's any game to make the most noise for, it is going to be this one. So I want to introduce the first player.
Go ahead and make sure, even if you're watching at home alone, be sure to cheer. If you're watching at a barcraft, be sure to cheer. And if you are here live at Orlando, be sure to make as much noise as you can.
In the top left side, it is going to be MarineKing.
And in the bottom left corner, the bad boy of esports, renowned as one of the only hopes the foreign community has, it is EGIdrA.
Oh man, the bar crafts around the world just made so much additional money from people buying booze and other drinks to prepare for this match, because you know what? I think everyone's going to need a little bit of that just to kind of calm themselves. I know that I should probably be drinking right now, because this game is probably going to be my favorite from the entire tournament, Sean.
Yeah, and you know, considering the way that MarineKingPrime played in the last two TVZs that we saw, I mean, lifting up to the center of the match, going 6 Hellions at a time, the triple reactor, I definitely think that that is going to be hard for IdrA to deal with, as he is bar none when it comes to straight up matches, and also bar none when it comes to losing to new strategies.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like if MarineKing decides to go for a build like that, he may need to go for one that hits a little bit sooner, because I feel like that's where IdrA is going to be set on tilt the most. But if it's kind of a delayed amount of, I don't know if you call it cheese, but definitely unorthodox play, I feel like IdrA's response is at least going to be the correct one. As long as he keeps his nerves cool, he'll be able to deal with it. So I'm really curious to see, is MarineKing going to try and give us an amazing show here, or has someone kind of told him in his ear, hey, IdrA's really good, this match is super important, you should probably not Manor Mule at the 20-second mark?
That is correct. Some guy in a trench coat with a big hat shrouded in darkness came up and said, hey, play straight up versus IdrA. MarineKingPrime smiled and giggled and pointed to his Reddit patch, because he doesn't speak English very well.
Yeah, he does love that character indeed. And of course, the map is Tal'Darim Altar. If you're just tuning in, you are tuning in to the best match of the night, I would say, as this match is very, very important. MarineKing going to be going for a super early expand. What do you think about building this outside of your safe wall?
You know, I definitely don't think it's going to be a problem. He just poked in to the Zerg base and notices no gas whatsoever. This could be something tricky in store from IdrA. No gas anywhere. His crutch play is to go for the speed Zergling Mutalisk. And I'm just not seeing that at all. And MarineKing almost certainly is noticing the same. He is going to be building these 2 barracks before he even builds a bunker. Slow lings literally do no damage to Marines no matter what, no matter how many there are.
Yeah, that is so true, especially the micro that we've seen of MarineKing. I mean, he lives up to his name of being the king of Marines, and he cares about the people, Sean. He will keep them alive as long as he can, just really abusing the terrain like nothing else I've seen from any other player. And we do see the double gas now going down for MarineKing after adding on those 2 barracks. And we do have just the 1 gas out of IdrA here, but this is going to allow him to get a lot of drones. Those inject larvas are going to be effective here. But you're absolutely right. This is definitely not the IdrA that we're all used to.
What's very interesting is that the average Terran player will end up scouting around in circles in the Zerg base and say, oh, thank goodness, no speed. I am safe from any sort of early attack. Oh. MarineKingPrime, stay one time. And as easy as that, he's back.
It's like a secret saying. It's just like it goes back generation after generation. MarineKingPrime, stay one more time. I remember listening to that.
Way back in the barbershop quartets that used to cheer him on in youth. Now, to note MarineKingPrime, a lot of Terran players will just say, oh, goodness, that's so great. He's not going to attack me. But MarineKingPrime is the sort to bring the noise back to say, well, hey, if you don't have speed, I can move out with my Marines whenever I so please. And it looks like MarineKing going to take a little bit more of an extreme choice, going to get this +1 attack upgrade before combat shield, before stim, before anything else. Because, again, no way he can be attacked at all.
This is turning out to already be an awesome game to start off this series, simply because IdrA, I mean, he's kind of doing his, typical macroing up, but I like that he's getting some defense here that is going to really prevent any sort of major push out from MarineKing. At least it's going to buy IdrA enough time to drag this into the mid game. It looks like it's going to come down to when does IdrA take that 3rd base, because having those destructible rocks there do make that a little bit of a challenge. But Sean, I'm getting so excited because this looks like we may see a macro game.
I'm getting really nervous for MarineKingPrime. I mean, we're seeing the Baneling nest get built. Is he going for defensive Banelings? It all depends on this next round. And no, he looks like he is not going for some sort of crazy bust. He instead...
Oh, he shot his own Marine. Did you see the execution style
he was
shot
a
right
traitor.
There? He was like, yes, he was a traitor. He was giving intelligence to the Zerg player. But I was going to say, oh, losing 2 Zerglings, that sucks. But I guess MarineKing just another fun day Monday. Kill your units every time you kill one of theirs.
Man, I can't wait to announce that on Tuesday.
Oh, God, so good. But we do see the Marines now moving out. The creep spread pretty good for EGIdrA. Just needs to make sure to get that burrowed as soon as he can, as the defensive Banelings are now in position. Was able, I believe, to kill a creep team right there. Yes, he did kill that. That's so annoying.
Be careful.
EGIdrA needs to get a good hit. He does focus those down. EGIdrA isn't going to have enough Zerglings here. I'm kind of curious as to why he's actually engaging this, but was able to pick it away a little bit.
Scans, picking off all the creep tumors, and this poor queen gets eliminated easily. And MarineKingPrime just going to do a little bit of MarineKing retreating. Or he may just sit here.
MarineKing sitting more like, as he does have those Marines still outside the base. And EGIdrA, I'm kind of baffled as to why he continued to engage there. But maybe he can get enough stuff to clean this up. Doesn't look like it, though.
Meanwhile, back home, another command center popping up. We see the Marines now pulling back at the perfect time. He needs to be really careful. We see that more Zerglings are continuing to be constructed. He needs to stay away from the creep. MarineKing is going absolutely aggro bonkers, crazyville nutcase.
No.
What is happening with these Marines? There's nothing safe there.
Oh no, what are you doing, Marines? This is not the best idea that MarineKingPrime has ever had. Maybe he'll prove me wrong by killing all these Zerglings. That would not surprise me. This is a lot of Zerglings, MarineKing. And EGIdrA is killing the rocks, not the Marines. The Marines are now trapped. They are up against the wall. Where are the Banelings? They decided not to roll down here, even though this would be a perfect time. He does get a decent surround. The Marine count is getting dangerously low, but Banelings are apparently pacifist in this game.
No way!
And that was ridiculous. Having one Baneling in there would have killed all of those off. I am a little baffled as to what happens.
I honestly can't wait to say this, but MarineKing looked into his magic ball and did some MarineKing scrying. Figured out that was actually the correct move to do. I mean, that actually should not have worked, but amazingly, he has blocked the third rocks. This third hatch that very much so would have been wanted to be placed at that expansion will not be happening. The Spire is now getting close to finishing. MarineKing already has that third command center done, macroing up that large force and is going straight up for a drop.
God, even leaving these couple of Marines back here may be able to kill some drones if EGIdrA does not spot them. And yeah, he does not know that those are there. So right now we do see that factory is nearly completed. There is going to be a drop inside the main base. A huge Baneling hit, able to kill up some of those Marines. But look at this, a multi-pronged drop by MarineKing. Gotta try and make it work here.
Oh, and he manages to get the Baneling, and it looks like the Zerglings do not quite do enough damage in time, and Mutalisks are in production. The stim is still about 15 seconds out. MarineKing has done incredible damage. Look at that unit's lost half.
That is absolutely bonkers. Now, even if EGIdrA cleans this up, which he may lose a Muta or two, and they're doing so, there goes one Muta. Second Muta is down. MarineKing. Sean, why do you think he would ever name himself this?
I think it's because the only unit he will ever attack with is the Marine. Now the stim is done, and look at this, +2. +2 about to get started for our Terran player, and EGIdrA is struggling to establish that standard Ling Muta Baneling mixture, and unbelievably enough, the Terran player is ahead in workers.
Not a comfortable position at all. Now MarineKing is slightly supply blocked here. Actually heavily supply blocked. He hasn't started making any more depots right now. So this may be the chance that EGIdrA needs to get back into this game. That would have been devastating there. Thankfully for EGIdrA, he was indeed attacking the rocks. The Mutalisk harassment has begun, and the supply block is continuing for MarineKing, but at this point you would expect a Zerg player to be ahead of the Terran. And that, I mean, simply put, that's just not what we're seeing right now.
Those little handful of Marines do get picked off, but now MarineKingPrime knows exactly what is up. We see double tank production, and this is actually very counterintuitive, but very, very clever by the Terran player. Ordinarily, when you see a player going Muta, Ling, you think to yourself, well, I better get a lot of Marines, so that way I can help control that Mutalisk force.
Right.
What MarineKingPrime is saying is that, well, I'm going to wait till my 2-2 upgrades are done, and I'm going to have so many tanks that there is no way the Zerg can comfortably engage me in a head-on fight. And those Mutalisks suddenly will be unable to really do much harassment and will be forced to deal with this direct tank push.
I love the +1 upgrade on those tanks as well. We do have +1 attack on the way for the Mutas, but I just don't know if that's going to be enough. His Mutaball is not looking the most healthy that I would expect at a time like this. Needs to be careful in the center as the Marines are able to chase those away. But MarineKing is just so good with the Marines, already spreading them out so that even if he does get engaged right here, he's going to be fine. Although IDrA did finish up a lot of Banelings. Here comes the pressure for MarineKing. He could begin sieging this Expo from the low ground.
Uh-oh, and there he has managed to get to the money spot. These positions helping him so much. Mutalisk from IDrA trying to cut off reinforcements. The Banelings, oh no, wandering off onto their own. The siege tanks will be able to clean that up relatively easily, and he gets eliminated.
Huge focus firing there on those siege tanks, able to clean this up seemingly with ease right here, and just a little bit of momentum that MarineKing was able to get in the early game. He is carrying to a swift victory in the center. Now he doesn't have much anti-air remaining, so these Mutas really can go to town, but I think that 5 Marines is enough to kill them off. IDrA losing focus here in this game, just losing those Mutas to a handful of Marines. Literally, it was like 5, and look at the reinforcements. The good game from MarineKing.
This would be such a bitter loss for IDrA if he was booted down out of this series, having gone 4-0 in his best of 3s, 8-1 in individual matches, to then suddenly end up getting bested by the player from the open bracket.
That is the part that would make it the absolute worst stinging pain he has ever lived through. Now we do see
that's horrible. Wow.
I'm telling you, man, squirting lemon juice into his eyes. But regardless, that does mean IDrA is going to be able to choose this next map. But as always, if it goes to the 3rd map, he's going to be at a disadvantage just because MarineKing can pick that. So everyone on Reddit is probably cheering for IDrA. Everyone on, for MarineKing, everyone on Team Liquid probably cheering for IDrA. So regardless, we're going to take a quick break. I wonder how long I can talk until this music just drowns me out into the silence. Whatever, I'm Husky.
I'm Day9. See you right after this. My goodness, I am Day9 from Day9.tv.
Oh, I'm Husky from Husky StarCraft on YouTube, also from Oregon, so hell yeah. But regardless, this game is going to be awesome, as game number 1, I would say, was very decisively in MarineKing's favor. And speaking of MarineKing, I know all the Reddit fans are in love with him, as they paid for his trip out here for this event, and they have got their money's worth. It is MarineKing.
And up in the Northlands, oh, MarineKing giving a capital glug, 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 glug. He's actually drinking a root beer. In the north position, we have one of the most solid Zerg players of all time, but is he solid enough to take a 2-1 comeback today? It is EGIdrA.
Oh, he is sad that IDrA did not respond there, as IDrA, he is in game mode, man. He is not Huck, where Huck would have like written a poem for him, drawn him some hearts, probably even painted him a picture inside of his booth before beginning the game here. But IDrA, the stone cold killer right now, does not even respond to the sad face. Is this pure genius on IDra's part, Sean?
Well, it actually sometimes worries me. When IDrA ends up losing game 1, happiness tends to put him on tilt. So, I mean, MarineKing, honestly, showing that sort of elation after that game 1 with, quite honestly, a fairly unorthodox attack timing. I think that IDrA actually ends up playing significantly worse in that sort of position. With a lot of comfort on the line, IDrA plays well, but the closer and closer things get to the finals at MLG, we have seen him make some incredible blunders.
Yeah, I mean, he is walking a very fine line right now. It's getting down to the point where if he can win these next 2 games, he's going to be in great shape to make it towards the finals. Definitely getting top 6 is something that he would love to do here at this, at this MLG, simply because there are so many Koreans participating at this event. And we do see the hatch going down right now, spawning pool as well. So I am curious, as usual, to see how IDrA is going to play this one out. I don't think he's going to do any of his tilt kind of like all-in roach attacks or anything like that. I honestly feel like if he plays his standard macro on this map, he should be okay here.
Yeah, you know, as much as IDrA may have ended up floundering in that last game, I do strongly believe that if IDrA can repel some simple early pressures, he will go way into overdrive mode in the late game and be near impossible to overcome. This is his choice of map. It is cross-map positions. There is very, very little locked.
I wish I knew what he meant right there. Maybe he has this game on key and lock. We will find out. But the command center, again, is just in the main base this time. And we do see double gas coming out of MarineKing right now.
Yeah, the double gas is likely going to be the double Blue Flame Hellion play. Although it cannot kill off workers in 2 hits, it still can kill off Zerglings in 2 hits, and that provides the excellent map control that you need to secure yourself properly on this map. There's the factory going down for MarineKingPrime. EGIdrA, you'll note, getting his gas up a little bit earlier in this game with this kind of wide open space. It's very difficult to defend without speedlings.
Now, I have seen EGIdrA time and time again go for an early third. We do see MarineKing working on his orbital, once again keeping it inside the main base. Just wants to get that energy as quickly as he possibly can. And indeed, the factory at about halfway complete. So it's just going to be up to EGIdrA, honestly, that if something is thrown at him in the early game, if he can keep his cool and defend it, I think he is going to be in great shape here. Mutalisks, there's a lot of open areas that he can use those. And from watching EGIdrA, he loves mutas.
What the heck? More refineries. The only thing that makes sense to me is a huge flood of starports at this point in time. Getting this much gas, I mean, this is going to have to be a really wacky style by MarineKing, because you'll note that Hellions don't require a lot of gas. What on earth could he be planning? Taking these geysers that ridiculously early. He has to have something absolutely insane planned. And again, the only thing that makes a good amount of sense is if he suddenly slammed down a bunch of starports.
I am scratching my non-existent beard right now, Sean. I do not have what it takes to be an EG member, as I cannot grow a beard that epic. But I feel like MarineKing, he's been trying to put on a show this entire time, and must be doing the same, because he has 500 gas at the 6-minute mark, so he definitely is up to something sneaky. We see another factory going down. Still, I don't know what this gas is going to go into.
Gosh, that is so much gas. I mean, now that he's adding on a second factory, the only logic that's making sense now is saying something like, well, you know, if I'm ever stuck on 2 base and I try to do a big mech push, I never quite have enough gas to get out the critical amount of tanks and upgrades that I need. This could quite possibly be a mass Thor push, but I'm starting to run low on possibilities. I mean, this is a lot of gas that he is stockpiling up, and with these 2 factories incoming, the only thing that really makes sense is some huge tank or Thor flooding, and Thor it will be with the hidden armory.
Yeah, now MarineKingPrime needs to be very careful here, because a player like EGIdrA, I mean, he is one of the best foreigners out there. So if you go a build that's not necessarily standard or extremely good, EGIdrA will take advantage of it. So he just needs to make sure that he plays this out correctly. It does look like the Zerglings getting us around at 1 Hellion, trying to chase down the remaining. He does get 2, and it looks like these Hellions are indeed going to get taken out here. So EGIdrA at least getting a small victory here.
And there it looks like some nice final shots. He's
really
lining them up.
And is he going to kill off all those lings? Probably not. There he go. Why is he still alive? I feel like that Hellion literally got turned into like a unicycle. He had so little HP, just wobbling away on that one remaining tire. I can't believe that that actually survived. He deserves to just be tucked away in the corner of MarineKing's base for the remainder of this. That was awesome. Now,
EGIdrA did march in and spot exactly what was going on in the base, but the one thing he did not spot was this armory, and there MarineKingPrime goes, taking himself a 3rd base. Does EGIdrA know? 100% yes. And in the main, it looks like we have some roaches incoming.
Yeah, and also EGIdrA was able to spot the factories, so when you see 3 factories, you're thinking, all right, it's got to be mech. And I'm just thinking that EGIdrA knows it's going to be Thors. I mean, he did start the roach production here, which is something that is pretty good against Thors if you can get them in overwhelming numbers. Blue Flame is on the way. That is going to be slightly delayed. But MarineKing, honestly, I think is just going to be having some fun with this game, trying to kill off some drones here as well. Will indeed get 2. And I would say that these Hellions have a long road ahead of them, but we've already seen what MarineKing can do with them.
And it looks like they will head home safely. Yeah, none of that. I've learned my lesson. I'm coming back home. Double Thor coming out, and this is going to be some super crazy fast upgrades, but I'm still really worried about the gas count for MarineKingPrime. Up to 1,300, far too high at this phase in the game. EGIdrA is going to get up the money mix of, of just a ridiculous amount of drones.
A ridiculous amount of drones indeed. EGIdrA known for that. 64 drones. Production does not show more drones. Instead, he does have a Spire here. which is something, I mean, if you're able to magic box, get these units out of position, it can be good, but you can also take massive amount of splash damage. So that is something you have to absolutely look out for here moving forward. So I just don't know what's going to happen when these two armies clash, because Thors, they almost seem like they can be awesome or like just virtually worthless. And it's really going to come down to MarineKing being able to protect those, maybe even sending out some SCVs to repair them. And he's getting on 2 more gas, Sean.
I mean, I've never had 1,500 gas and said, God, I got to get some more gas. I mean, he really got to get these geysers up.
We do see that that one queen is going down. The creep tumor actually taking splash damage there to kill it off. EGIdrA's drone production has stopped, and he's decided to go ahead for Mutalisks here, which I think he's definitely going to need some amount of roaches on the ground to help deal with these Thors. Some Zerglings as well wouldn't be bad, because the Zerglings don't really kill the Thors, but they kind of absorb a lot of the Thor damage. I mean, it's way overkill to shoot one Zergling with a Thor, and unfortunately Thors just do not have the technology to shoot 2 units at once.
And now, whatever mental state EGIdrA was in at the start of the game, whether he was calm or he is on tilt, I can guarantee you EGIdrA is now going to get in the zone and start playing brilliantly, because this is his comfort zone. This is exactly where he has been trying to be all game long, and now we see these factories are suddenly a big vulnerability. He's got to be a little bit careful. Upgrades are coming out quite quickly for MarineKingPrime. He's building another command center. This may very well get turned into a planetary fortress. But MarineKing, interestingly, staying fairly heavy on Thors, fairly low on tanks. Pretty smart if you look at the mixture that EGIdrA's getting. Almost no roaches at all. Yeah,
that's exactly what I was trying to conclude as to why he's doing that. I mean, he has 4 roaches here now, but you do mention that he is very comfortable at these stages of the game. I kind of feel like EGIdrA, like, for us, it's a 10-second countdown timer till the game starts. For him, it's about a 15-minute timer, and then that's when the game starts, and he feels very comfortable because of the macro that he loves to do. So I'm very curious if he's going to be able to get out enough roaches in time. He does have 13 on the way. His upgrades aren't looking too bad either, as he does have a lot of Overlord upgrades on the way actually right now.
Very smart decision by EGIdrA. Brilliantly getting all those mass air upgrades for his Overlord, so that way he can end up doing counter drops and against the slow, clunky Thor tank mix. I mean, even trying to run back up this entrance, MarineKingPrime is going to have a really hard time. We do see the second armory is done right now. Oh, this could be some bad news if EGIdrA takes this out, but no. EGIdrA is repelled in the main, and this is getting really scary. This, I think, is one of the best decisions we've seen all game long, taking this right hatch. How do you destroy both the left and the right hatch at the same time?
You cannot, unless you do some crazy Thor drops or something, but I don't think we're going to see that. Now, we do see both players maxed out. MarineKing has quite the unit composition. I feel like going mass Thor is one of the quickest ways to get maxed out in StarCraft 2, so don't be misled on this army. These mutas need to be very, very careful here. Looks like the Hellions kind of darting out a little bit ahead of the Thors here, and if EGIdrA cleans this up, it is going to be so difficult for MarineKing to recover.
And there's the counter play by EGIdrA. Great play. Rushing right up. Going to be able to do massive damage to all the SCVs. And with these roaches streaming in, MarineKing is going to have to at least pull back something, rearrange these units. He needs to be in an amazing position, and it looks like he is just going for the push, ripping apart absolutely everything. EGIdrA keeps pulling back and pulling back. Hellions, oh no, completely isolated. Oh, MarineKing losing enormous amounts of units. He needs to siege up instantly. Meanwhile, back in the main base, EGIdrA has ripped apart a huge number of those SCVs.
And that was actually poor control on both players' end, as MarineKing brought SCVs off to a battle he was already winning, thus losing more than he should have. But MarineKing is going to be moving up here right now, and can EGIdrA break this with what he's got? He's got 1 random baneling, a lot of roaches in here. His upgrades are at 1-1, while MarineKing does have the 2-2, but there's 13 roaches on the way. 3 Mulas as well, and it does look like EGIdrA will clean this up with his first wave, if not his second wave. For sure will be able to take this out.
The tanks at the back, though, doing some serious damage. EGIdrA ends up losing all these roaches amazingly, but there are just too many Mutalisks on the field right now, and EGIdrA has deflected that attack.
EGIdrA swinging back into this game. He was feeling very confident moving forward, and MarineKing's army was looking tough. But, I mean, this is the situation I was talking about, Sean. MarineKing at 110 supply, EGIdrA already re-maxed out. And that is exactly what EGIdrA loves doing, is just getting to that macro mode, while no matter how many factories you have, it is so hard to max back out.
And there it looks like an attempted counterattack. Fortunately, MarineKing had some units there, but I mean, I cannot see this going any other direction than strongly into EGIdRA's favor. Once this Doom
drop headed down to MarineKing's base, and he has a lot of stuff in here. Roaches, Zerglings mixed. No, mostly just roaches at this point, which is exactly what he needs. He's got to drop on top of the production facilities.
Oh, no!
Are the Thors going to be in position to defend? Not quite yet. But you got to remember that EGIdRA has 3,000 resources in the bank, so even if he loses this attack force, it is not over yet for him. Right now, these units are stuck on the ramp, which is actually working towards MarineKing's favor, but EGIdRA not able to end the game just yet.
Oh, but EGIdRA really needs to take out these factories. He gets one factory, two factory. That is going to completely stunt the production capacity of MarineKingPrime. And over on the right side, Roaches streaming in, hitting from all sides. The main has been successfully defended, and losing that last final Thor. And in the workers killed count, I am almost scared to bring this up. That is pretty damn good by EGIdRA.
Now, Sean, I feel like MarineKing should just transition into Marines and win.
That is honestly one of his strongest transitions, the Marine into win build.
Now we do see the expansion on the right side finally getting underway as far as those drones are concerned, but so many mutas inside the main base of MarineKing, losing his very few remaining SCVs. Actually, he has managed to keep 57 of them alive, but they're just not mining at that many locations. Only the two. EGIdRA has 2,000 income to about the 1,600 of MarineKing. But I mean, honestly, MarineKing is running out of mineral patches here.
Yeah, I mean, MarineKing did manage to get his third up, but it's so hard when you're against the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 base Zerg, who is constantly counterattacking, constantly maxed, getting that hive. But here comes another big swell of Zerglings, hold positioning directly in the worker line at the back of the base. Oh, man! MarineKing pulled every which way.
Yeah, Muta's in the main right now as well, killing off the remaining factories here. So the production is going to be non-existent. This will most likely force MarineKing just have to leave his base, even getting a couple of splash shots off here by these Thors. The two Thors are going to go down as well. MarineKing's chances of winning this, I think, have gone out the window.
And MarineKing doing a non-marine focused strategy did not end up working so well. And the SCV is taking so much damage. But, I mean, EGIdRA does not even mind really losing all of these Mutalisks.
Yeah.
That might seem like a win, but all the food is just getting more and more freed up for EGIdRA to continue to mass up these roaches, to do a hive tech play, greater Spire incoming.
Well, you know what? MarineKing's going to move out with what he's got, so if EGIdRA made too many drones, he might have a hard time holding this off, but EGIdRA did not, as he does have 31 drones, 15 Mutalisks on the way. Here comes the potentially final battle right now. EGIdRA marching in with a Doom army of just pure roach. The Muta's not really doing all that much, but can EGIdRA break this right here? It looks like he'll be able to.
And it looks like trying to target fire down these Thors one at a time. 19 more roaches in production. MarineKing doing his best to eliminate these roaches, doing micro with that Thor. Manages to crack that
3-3 versus 1-2 is pretty good. But we do have 37 more roaches in production. EGIdRA once again nearing max out. And I would just cry a little bit if he just lost to 7 Thors right now, but I don't think he will.
It's going to be pretty hard to when this amount of roaches ends up greeting him. Trying to pick off the spine crawlers, but those Thors are getting a little bit more and more spread out. I mean, even if these Thors do end up reinforcing, MarineKing is up against the wall. His expansion is completely gone. Another great counterattack by EGIdRA.
Oh, he's actually going to get the sandwich attack over here from 3 different directions. Able to completely have a Thor sandwich for dinner. And that is going to be it for MarineKing. He simply cannot recover. Over 100 supply behind. MarineKing trying to have some fun with this mass mech play. But it is 200 supply to 62 for MarineKing.
EGIdRA playing his game, refusing. A mule sandwich.
There we go. Trying to use mules like the force field, but unfortunately, mules do not make very good force fields there. So we are all tied up 1-1 for the game who is deciding the first place position in that pool. I cannot wait for this next game, Sean.
It is an insane spot to be in because this is the difference between top 6 and top 12. A huge, huge game coming up. Do not go anywhere. We are going to get match 3 set up.
We got some chant going on.
MarineKingPrime versus IDrA, game number 3. Match point is coming up right now. I am day 9.
And I am Husky. Sean, I could not be more excited. Oh my God.
These are 2 incredible fan favorites. The foreigner Hope IDrA versus the Reddit-funded player MarineKingPrime. Who will take it? It is cross-map positions, guaranteed to be a long macro game. So everyone, get your lungs prepared to cheer. In the top right corner, the man who started down 0-1 played magnificently in game 2. It is the bad boy of esports, EGIdrA.
And in the bottom left side, you already mentioned it, Sean, funded by Reddit to fly out here. He's got an awesome patch as well as an awesome winning streak. Make sure to get pumped and make some noise for MarineKing. All right, and the map is Shakira's Plateau, which means they cannot spawn close by ground. And we indeed, you already said this, Sean, we have a very high chance of a macro game here. And what an epic way to end this epic game for this epic series. Or, you know, something will be a huge blunder and it'll be all over. But regardless, this game is sensational.
What is so exciting to me about this particular map choice from MarineKing is that it is a relatively defense-happy map for 2-base play. It is so easy to hold this front, but for IDrA, could be some drops incoming. MarineKing could even go for the same mech style, and counterattacks are not nearly as effective, and we have seen the full gamut of possibilities from MarineKing at this tournament, and with no gas yet taken, it looks like we may be seeing an early expand play from our Terran player.
Wouldn't be surprised to see lots of early expanding out of IDrA as well. I've seen him take those third bases so extremely early here. And if you guys are just tuning in, this is probably the match of the evening that you're going to want to not miss. Please don't miss this one. This one's going to be awesome, where they're basically fighting for that highest seed for top 6 in the tournament, also allowing them to lose a round in that championship bracket. We do see MarineKing going, you called it, Sean, super early expand here, going down. And the nice thing about this, again, is that you can put the 2 barracks right at that choke, and you are walled in nice and tight.
We don't see any Marine get produced yet there. Marine number 1 finally getting started. IDrA going for his gasless expand build. How will MarineKing transition, given the fact that he has not built any geysers quite yet? I would strongly suspect that we would see a bunch of barracks get thrown down. There's the one drone slipping right into the main. IDrA almost always willing to sacrifice this first drone to get a sense of what's going on in that base.
Yeah, he needs to know exactly what's going to be headed his way. Even though he saw command center, he just wants to make double sure that there is no sneaky shenanigans. Checking the timing of the gas is going to be telling him a lot. Checking if those 2 barracks are going down, what the timing of that is going to be. And there we go, the 3 barracks going down right there. This is exactly what Terran players love to do on this map, completely standard, as it is one of the safest maps to expand on, because it's one of those situations where it's not only are you expanding early, but also this is fairly strong against Baneling busts in the mid game.
Oh yeah. I mean, now granted, you can go a little bit crazy with Banelings and be guaranteed some barracks kills, but most Terrans nowadays are very, very well defended versus that.
Yeah, we have seen that in the past, where if you get the splash damage perfect, it will either kill all the barracks or get them dangerously low on HP, and then you really can't repair them at that point because they're still Banelings that can blow up your entire economy, which is not a good situation here. So we do see that 1 gas out of IDrA. The second, I mean, just the natural is down. He hasn't thrown down a third base super early or anything like that. So, Sean, our Mutalisk, kind of the Mutaling that IDrA loves, is that pretty viable on this map?
Absolutely. It's a great way to force the Terran player back. Sometimes you can't get the best angles of engagement in the center of the map. It's still enough room to defend, and most importantly, enough room to pin the Terran player on the backside. And, oh, this is increasingly becoming the big popular strat in Korea, the double early engineering bay before Tech Labs even get started, getting the 1-1 upgrade started right away for a brutal 2-2 push timing. IDrA will have the +1 for air, will have the +1 for Zerglings, and it still will not quite be enough for those direct, straight-up engagements.
Yeah, it kind of has the same idea as a Protoss player versus Terran, just getting the super early upgrades to make your army very powerful for when you do decide to move out. And MarineKing actually lifted off one of the barracks to build an add-on up on the top, which that's actually really, really interesting, because one thing that some players do is put the add-ons at the entrance, and then they're vulnerable to getting sniped by a lot of different stuff. So MarineKing kind of putting his own little flair on that, and is most likely going to be getting, you know, stem or combat shields, something like that. But I think, Sean, he is going to be living up to his name in this game.
Here's the Baneling Nest coming down for EGIdrA, almost certainly a defensive Baneling Nest, as we do see a layer started. In the center of the map. That Zergling is keeping a steady eye on what's coming out the front, and this could potentially be a bit dangerous, having this one Overlord at the backside. It could sneak in and spot this timing that MarineKing's going for. MarineKing likely will not push out with 1-1 timing, but that's what the average Terran player will do, and MarineKing is everything but that.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, in the first game, we saw just how devastating he can be with Marines that should not be doing damage. So anytime MarineKing is sending Marines at you, no matter what the timing is, you have got to watch out. His control is top-notch, especially with those Marines, man. I feel like he just practices with those units day in and day out. We do see the third base for MarineKing is on the way, as well as EGIdrA, although he is putting a macro hatch in his main rather than going for an expand.
It's very difficult to secure that third right here at this point in time. I mean, your layer is only just now finishing up. You'll be building a Spire, but you won't have the Mutalisk out to deal with some of those early push timings, so EGIdRA's almost forced to build that macro hatch in his main base. EGIdRA does have this little sneaky Overlord planted at the backside, and look at this MarineKing going straight for the starport with Reactor. He's going to be going straight for the 2-2 upgrades. It is going to be all Marine all the time. And look at this, +1, and Combat Shield finishing within 5 seconds of each other.
That means his push is, I mean, of course, very well timed. And maybe he's trying to push out right when EGIdRA's taking his third, because this is a pretty sweet time for him to indeed move out. EGIdRA spots all these Marines on the way. Can MarineKing swing in here with a huge, huge victory? We've seen him do a lot of damage versus just pure Zergling armies, so EGIdRA is going to have to rely on some pretty big Baneling hits here.
There's the +2 attack upgrade, +2 armor, going to get started momentarily, and here he is walking right on up. He will deny this third unless these Banelings can sweep in, and he target fires it, takes it out, spreading out those Marines. How will it end up going? EGIdRA looks like he might deal a crushing blow right now.
Wow. EGIdRA able to clean that up. He didn't lose the hatchery. I mean, yes, he did cancel it, but it wasn't finished, so he was able to get a lot of that money back. Now, EGIdRA does have a lot of resources because he was hoping to have an expand, hoping to start his Mutalisks already, but you know what? After killing that off, units lost is favoring EGIdRA, but not by as much as you might think, because even when Banelings blow up, they're still not free. Although if EGIdRA is able to spend all this money, his army is going to look pretty scary.
Now, it looks like EGIdRA does have only 6 Mutalisks in production. If MarineKing's timing sense is spot on, he'll begin building those turrets. Indeed, that is what we see. But the real danger for MarineKing at this point in the game is that he does not have reactors on these barracks. He's getting another factory up, so he will begin reinforcing this Marine Marauder force with tanks. He's going to try to sneak a medevac along the south side, but I don't know how reliable this is going to be. The Mutalisk count, I guess, is kind of low.
Now, another thing that MarineKing has to watch out for is these drops. I mean, look at where these Mutalisks are flying. They could potentially intercept these medevacs perfectly. No, he's going to swing a little bit to the left. I think he's going to barely miss it, but that does mean the main is going to be slightly undefended. And on top of that, if EGIdRA ever catches wind of these drops, he can simply intercept them with his Mutalisk. Now, it does look like MarineKing able to safely unload here. He can stem and snipe that. EGIdRA surprisingly going for just a supply depot here, not going to be doing massive damage, but this drop could do a lot of damage here with +2 nearly done.
And there's the stem. See you later, Queen. That can get target fired easily. Whoopsie daisies, accidentally misfires there. It's going to have to be really perfect.
Wow! Saving all but one of the Marines there, the Mutas, though. They are flying back. They're not too happy about the news that their main base is getting dropped, but MarineKing wisely unloads here to do as much damage as he can. Some on the high ground, some on the low, but EGIdRA still able to come out ahead.
EGIdRA going to clean this up. Oh no, 2-2 just finishing up. MarineKing did not get the advantage of those additional upgrades. This one macro command center, well, what the hell kind of other command center can you have but a macro command center? Well, he's moving out with it, and he's going to take an expansion.
One for a lot of manor scans, Sean.
We do see more barracks being added on. There is the +1. And MarineKingPrime does have the 2-2 upgrades. EGIdRA only has 1-0 and 1-0. He will need to siege up promptly. This is an extremely bold expansion.
Now we are going to be seeing the +2 melee attack done.
Oh no!
For EGIdRA. Here comes a major sandwich right now, trying to get this around. Only a couple of Banelings in here, though they actually blew up on the siege tank. Can't EGIdRA best it right here. The muted numbers are fairly high, but the Banelings coming from the north, able to clean that one up. EGIdRA is now ahead in that supply. You mentioned a bold expo. Bold it was, but unfortunately it looks like it may go down. The siege tank gets destroyed. it's going to be tough for MarineKing to hang on to this one.
Some great control there by MarineKing, but he has no reactor barracks. He cannot keep up with this production. EGIdrA continuing to try to stream forward to pick these off, but these 2-2 Marines getting 3-3 upgrades.
Wow.
Stupidly fast upgrades by MarineKingPrime. And he needs desperately some window in which he can get those upgrades started. And meanwhile, look at EGIdrA gobbling up the whole map. The bottom right expansion. This third has not been stopped. Zergling's going to walk right up into the front, but MarineKing has an answer.
You know, I do feel like EGIdRA's playing smart, but the one thing he has to watch out for is once that 3-3 kicks in, he's not going to have any time to catch up in his upgrades.
Yes.
So I've seen him before lose to a big ball of Marines just because of pure upgrade advantages alone. So that is one thing that you guys need to keep in the back of your mind, is that if EGIdRA cannot match the upgrades, the Marines, if microed properly, could still win this for MarineKing.
Another command center going down by MarineKing, just incredibly aggressive with popping down those command centers. And I mean, it's 1-0 Marines, 2-0 Zerglings versus almost 3-3 Marines. An infestation pit going down right now. And if MarineKing can hold on, he will be in incredible shape.
Yeah, that's actually extremely true. I mean, yes, he's behind in supply, but his upgrade advantage is so strong that in the future it looks like the Mutas there trying to poke in there. But I almost feel like there's a little bit of a momentum shift heading back towards MarineKing, just based purely on the fact that he was able to keep the upgrades rolling, although he is severely supply blocked right now, so that's not going to be good for him.
MarineKing really needs to siege up these tanks. He's going to try to go for a pinch on both sides. Oh no, these Marines are over-stimmed, but they are highly upgraded. He now stims. He will lose absolutely everything. And at the front, the Zerglings are gearing up for a counterattack. EGIdRA continuing to catch MarineKing off guard, building only 8 Marines at a time. And there is the huge counterattack play at the front. He has to
but
cancel
the Mutas, a lot of them go down right there to those stim Marines. And if you look at the units lost tab, MarineKing's actually not in the worst shape. He does even save a Thor there by picking it up at the last second. It is so low on HP inside that medevac. And I just got to hand it to MarineKing for his resilience here.
The one thing to note, though, look at MarineKing's money. No reactor barracks.
Oh, wow.
I think now is really the time where he needs to take the opportunity to get those damn reactors down. He does not have a single way to catch up in that type of production. Once he does get the reactors down, it is going to be very, very frightening.
Oh my god, that siege tank survived with 9 HP with those Zerglings trying to snipe it. We do have the Mutas flying in the main, completely undefended SCVs, but the Marines are here. They are close to the Mutas. EGIdRA now kind of caught in an awkward position on the left side, but a huge counterattack with the Zerglings once again going to be streaming into the main. This is non-stop, relentless aggression out of EGIdRA.
And it looks like the Zerglings get cleaned up very easily. Now EGIdRA just going to sneak back in. In the unit counting station, we see 57 SCVs, still quite high at this phase in the game, but per usual, geez, 231 units killed. That's pretty kick-ass.
You say it so suavely, Sean, but unfortunately for MarineKing, he still has 2,000 resources, but his upgrades are amazing right now with the 3 attack, 3 armor. Is this going to be the momentum shift that he needs? He's rallying everything he's got, bringing a lot of SCVs off the line. He really wants to cause some pain here. The Banelings have finished, though. They do have that +2 attack, +1 armor just finished.
He's spread
and this is going to be tense.
It looks like EGIdRA is going to be going for it. He needs to siege up absolutely everything. The Banelings do manage to land some incredible hits. Is it going to be enough? It looks like the answer is yes. Everything is in a total retreat, but more Marines are moving in. And with those 3-3 upgrades, they are a vicious force to be reckoned with. Does he have enough? The Marine count looks like it is barely enough. I don't believe it. MarineKing has run over this force of EGIdRA's in the center of the map.
EGIdRA being way too aggressive here. He's still streaming units down there, but the SCVs acting like a wall. There's way too many medevacs here. This is something that I've seen EGIdRA lose to before, where he just overcommits there. MarineKing going to be pushing forward. These SCVs have like several kills apiece at this point with these medevacs healing them, and we have a long stream of units headed that way. A little bit of a misstim here as his units are just kind of rallied weirdly, losing a lot of time. The Mutas, if they can take out these medevacs, this would be huge, Sean.
And it looks like it is going to be barely enough. No, more Marines are rolling up.
Banelings.
But the Banelings are close to the front.
Banelings.
He's got to be careful. The unthinkable may have just happened. EGIdrA, who was dominating start to finish, the macro, the disorganization from MarineKingPrime, start to end, but still the control, the basic play, the 3-3 Marines, more units rolling in. I don't believe it, Husky. MarineKing may have just taken first place in Group A.
We do have 15 banelings on the way. It is very, essentially a tense moment here, but look at the supply lead now, 43 to 100. MarineKing still only on 3 bases right now. He's only mining off of 1 of those. If EGIdrA can somehow clean this up,
no!
Get massive hits there, and no, not able to clean out the rest of those. 80 supply to 133, but I think
I don't believe it! Unbelievable! MarineKingPrime holding out till the last second, winning an unbelievable comeback.
Wow, we definitely need to get a shot of them. That was a very emotional game. There's MarineKing. Make sure to make some noise for him once he comes out. But that was absolutely unbelievable. A stellar performance by MarineKing, able to hold on. I was talking about the hype on this match, and it definitely lived up to my expectations, Sean. I was not disappointed.
Losing all game long, MarineKingPrime pulls the comeback.
Here he comes.
At the last second, and there he is.
Make some noise for MarineKing. Oh, yeah.
An astounding performance, not just a comeback in that series versus EGIdrA, but when he was placed into Pool A, suffered a loss to the last ranked player, Drewby. He had to win every single round to do it, and there he is, #1 ranked in Pool A. He has made it to Championship Sunday in the semifinal of the winner's bracket.
Wow, that came down to the very, very last game. And I'm kind of speechless, Sean, because that series was amazing. That shows you the importance of those upgrades. That's why I kept saying, do not count out those Marines with those upgrades, because if you get just the right amount, they can crush a lot of units. And EGIdrA just was not able to get those upgrades up in time.
And a critical misjudgment in that final attack, just rallied mutas, rallied Zerglings, and those 9 Marines with that hero pack of SCVs was barely able to hold it off.
Man, SCVs getting healed by medevacs, I got to watch out for that on ladder, man, because that just won MarineKing one of the most important games of this tournament.
Congratulations to MarineKingPrime. He is first place in Group A. EGIdrA will be in second place. Will play in Championship Sunday, but will be placed in the lower bracket. Only a few more matches to go this evening, so don't go anywhere. I'm Day 9.
I'm Husky. Make sure to add us on Twitter. But regardless, we are going to be back in just a little bit. Again, Sean, that game was awesome.
That was unbelievable. We'll be back after this. Day 2 is almost done at MLG Orlando 2011.